Welcome to the BuyBoxBandits podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the BuyBoxBandits podcast. Special episode today, episode 138, 2-year anniversary of the first BuyBoxBandits episode. Did we film the first one in your house, Garrett, or at the warehouse?
In Coatesville.
In Coatesville, okay.
I think it was like the first 3 in Coatesville.
No, it was the first 2 were in Garrett's house, recorded on my phone, that somehow it went the whole time.
And then we did the other 2 at the warehouse, which was like, was that the next day or was that the same day?
I think it was like a week later or something.
I think it was too, but yeah, a lot's changed since then and everything. You had just moved to Miami when we started, Danny.
I was in the process, after we recorded those first 4 episodes, I moved.
Okay. Cool. So what I figure we should do is, okay, does everyone have a thing, rack your brains, favorite episode or favorite couple episodes? I got mine in my head.
Gary, you start.
The 1,000 ASINs one, January.
The first one.
That's also the viewer's favorite episode. That's the most viewed one too, as well. So let's see. So that one has 5,000 views. I thought the Oliver Flips one's really, really good too. Like I think he's a really good speaker too, and his story was cool as well. Like of quitting his job and everything. So those are my favorite too. Ironically, the 2 of the most popular ones ever, as well. And then Watch Me Amazon as well, I would say.
I think the second Eric Amazon Lit one, I think did really well. I think was a good one.
Sweet. Yeah, I really like Tyler MN Holla as well. That was one.
That was our first banger that we threw down. That was the very first one that popped off.
Yeah, one of the first ones I liked. It was an early one. I think it was the flipping accountant. That was a fun one. I thought that one was fun.
I haven't seen him pop across.
No, I see him on the gram. Yeah. Oliver Flips is a good speaker. By the way, you look good, Dan. Lost so much weight. Yeah, we gotta update. We gotta get the fiber guy back on the logo. Actually, okay. So cool. I'm just trying to look at some of the other most viewed ones. Let's see. Oh, the Zach Altmaier one was great. Toy Folio as well. Chris Grant's been on a couple. He's really good. FBA Michaela's I like too. George Brick. Yeah, facts actually. Yeah. Shout out South Jersey right there as well.
Just only throws bangers. Bangers.
Like super helpful stuff. I thought Joe Mars was really good. The OG Corey Gannon. That was his that
probably is my favorite just because it changed the trajectory of his business.
Yeah.
Completely.
The first Billy Flips one is the most viewed episode by a mile, like by 2x actually on podcasts actually. Yeah.
No way.
It has 20,000 downloads. Yeah. Which is pretty.
I wonder why.
What was the title?
It's like how to start Amazon the right way, but he did start the Amazon the right way. I feel like, all of us did together. Do we want to go through that story? Basically that whole first 6-month process basically. Okay. All right. So I'll start. So basically I had been posting on Flusher Miles for a few years, right? And I just finished college and I was trying to run Facebook ads. I was trying to build a business running Facebook ads for makeup salons. Basically, and I was probably making $2 or $3 grand a month pretty much, right? And we had a group chat. It was me, Danny, Ben Books, and some other old school booksellers from Amazon. None of us were really doing it anymore. Just because none of us were really doing it successfully, but we're still talking, right? And dudes were talking about, you can get ungated in toys and stuff. Now I'm like, no way. And then I tried it and it worked with eSpay, the eSpay method back in the day, right? And then I was always big on posting stuff online, right? And I was like, all right, I have all this shoe inventory for my shoe days, right? Let me post it on Amazon. It just starts flying immediately, right? And so I'm posting about it online, and then I'm watching a Gary Vee video, and he's like, how the fuck are you not responding to every comment you get? And I'm like, that's a good question, Gary. Let me just DM everyone too. And it's crazy that It's All Out Amazon was one of those comments on that picture that day. And then how did we end up getting on a call? Because you had already followed me, right?
I don't know. I think it was just
someone was like, "Yeah, let's do it," and then we did it that night because I remember it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I think.
I actually think that was the time where there was there was a group of us getting on calls. So you had invited me to one of your calls. That was a group.
Yeah.
And then I had said something to you specifically about something I was doing sourcing wise. I think it was a lot of the TA stuff.
TA stuff.
Like, oh shoot, like we got to get on a separate call.
Okay, that's facts. That is probably what happened.
And then I don't even think we had met individually, maybe once or twice. And then you were like, you mind if I bring in my dude Danny?
This dude who went to high school with me. Yeah.
Yeah,
You gave all the sauce. You did what you probably typically, we wouldn't really recommend people do, but you told us everything. But it was because you trusted me because I had, put in the work to show that I was trustworthy, basically, right? And everything. And then the rest was history there. Then, because that was like late February 2021. And then we all just took off like rocket ships.
Yeah.
Like Wi-Fi, I remember basically we were doing, because it was like the whole eras, right? Like we started out doing Air Force Ones and TA back in the day, right? No one knew what Seller Amp was or any of that stuff. And then Air Force Ones and then Flowbees. And then we all got in a nice rhythm within like a month. Like I still have the shared spreadsheet from way back then. Like
there was like a period of 6 months where it was like those Nike hats, the shorts, and a couple other like home run SKUs back in the day. And of course, the Flowbees were just. I mean, they just they sped up the process so much.
Yeah. Like
we would get in like 20 of those Flowbees. They'd be sold merchant fulfill in like a day or two.
So you learn so quick, you gain confidence quick when you're getting that type of feedback really, really quick. And I think it was important to note, like, back then, there was no 100,000 a month online arbitrage. Like you just didn't see people doing that. Like if you're listening to this today, like you're very lucky to see examples of people doing it at a high level. Like back in the day, like we all thought wholesale was like the only way you could make like serious money or label, basically.
That is like kind of part of the problem now is now when new people are starting, it's like so common to see 6-figure months, but it's very difficult to get there. And people don't understand how much work it actually takes. So when they're having trouble getting there, they tend to get discouraged. So anyone listening, don't get discouraged. It's possible, but it's not as easy as you think it is.
I think it's even harder to get from like 0 to 20 or 0 to 50.
100% harder. Yeah.
0 to 20, 0 to 50.
Because once you get to the $50,000 threshold, you've proven a lot of concepts. You know how to source, you know how to spend money. Right, you know how the whole process works. It's essentially just a capital thing. And if you can get to 50, you can get to 100. You just need to spend more money. That's ultimately the net of it. It's having the extra 20, 30, 40,000 every single month to start to be able to spend and turn that into cash.
100%. I was just say at 50K, at that point you should have made about already like 10 grand in that month. So that already like your mind should be, if it wasn't open before, it should be opened up now. You're making 6 figures a year. You need to go all in and really do it.
Yeah, the momentum and the proof of concept, like we all had a couple things like that, right? So for Garrett and I, or for all four of us, we'll include Jake in this because Jake was the fourth member of the team, basically, right? So it was Air Force Ones, Flowbees, and then that was right when COVID started waning off. So Garrett, you and I would start going to the outlets too, which was great because you get stuff in hand same day with that. And then Wi-Fi, tell the chlorine story as well, because this was a big momentum piece for you.
The chlorine story, it's just like short because I've said it a lot. To keep it short, there was a large chlorine shortage in the United States. They were selling for like 3 to 4x the retail price on Amazon. I figured out what stores were selling them. It was pretty much only Costco and like maybe Sam's Club. They were only being sold. This specific SKU was only being sold in the South, like the southern U.S. And the one area that I went, because Jake was like, California is mine, and I didn't want to, because he told me about it, so I didn't want to go to California.
You can't, exactly. You can't dig into the boys' playground.
I was like, all right, where else can I get it? And it was like California, Oregon, Texas, and Florida. I was like, I'm not going to Texas. So I was like,
you almost did though. You almost did.
I don't think it was coming to Texas as frequently as it was coming to Florida. So I just called every Costco in Florida and figured out like the supply chain of Costco, how they do it, how they get their shipments in. And just kind of like social engineered myself into situations talking to these Costco employees for them to tell me when the shipment is coming to their distribution center, which will then let me know when it's coming to the stores.
And this is over the phone?
Yeah, it's all over the phone.
So,
and all within 12, 20, 2 days, right?
Yeah,
A day,
yeah.
2 days.
Like I made a spreadsheet of every single Costco. I put every single phone number for every single Costco, and I would call. I think it was like 15 Costcos, and I would call every single one of them every day until someone told me it was going to the distribution center, and then it would go out to all of them.
Sure. And then
Was there any part of you that was prepared to get down there with and see not one chlorine?
Oh, dude, we didn't see the chlorine on the shelves until we had been there for like 5 days and there was no chlorine.
whoa, I actually didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Maybe like 4 days. Yeah, I was like, in my mind, because I was already making money, so I was like, all right, like worst comes to worst, I got like a nice little trip to Florida.
Yeah, Tesla.
Yeah, I flew for free anyway. I whipped around a Tesla. Like
That was a gate cap. That was like what was it called?
Speed limited it. It was ridiculous. I don't even think the autopilot was working. It was a joke. Last time I drove a Tesla. Actually, no. The next time I drove one, I got a ticket, and it was Garrett.
Well, that's a story for another day. And so on day 5, they end up having a bunch.
Yep. Day 5. I think around day 3 or 4, they told me it hit the distribution center, or it's supposed to, and then it hit, and then they were all in stores the next day.
And how many?
So talk through how you were able to acquire so many, because you only limited it max to like what, 5 or 6?
Well, so it's 3 per checkout. So when the lady on the phone told me they were going to the distribution centers, I was like, all right, cool. Hung up, called one of my really good friends from Jersey, and I was like, hey, I'll give you like $1,000 to fly down here. I think I maybe paid him like $2,000 in total. But I was like, yo, I'll make sure you get paid well, pay for your flights. I need you to fly down right now, like tonight. You need to fly down tonight. And so like shout out my boy Chris. He flew down that night. He was there next morning, rented the Penske trucks, and then we just started looping Costco's. I had my girlfriend at the time. She was helping me. We were going. I gave them all a Costco card. In checkouts, like we were just looping.
Were you changing clothes going in each?
Yeah, like you throw on a hat, throw it off. But honestly, Costco is so big. If you just don't make eye contact with anyone, like they weren't. It was hard for them to catch it.
So that's a classic loop. Like I used to do shit like that all the time too.
The key thing is though, the kid I flew down, Chris, like he's got balls. Like not a lot of people have enough balls to when you get told you can't keep checking out to go back in and keep checking. Like you need to understand.
It's the same thing with OA cancels. But what if they cancel? But what if they tell me I can't buy? But what if there's no?
Every year there's that press release from Nike. Oh, we're not going to sell to resellers anymore. No, Nike understands how resellers drive the market. I get 86 messages about that. Nothing happens every single year. Right there.
Yeah, no, you just gotta. I mean, you gotta weigh the pros and cons, and the pros far outweigh the cons.
Yeah.
How many were you able to get? What was it? Talk through the numbers.
I think, I can't. I think it was 197 cases of chlorine. It was like 6 pallets. Shipped them back up, and I think in total, I think I made like $30,000 in profit. It was somewhere around there.
And I was with you. I remember I was with you in person when the last of those started to finish selling. We were down and we were at the warehouse that day. It was like
Delaware. Yeah. Yep.
It was the last couple after the price had dropped and everything.
It had to, yeah, because I know I sold the.
That was the time the individual pulled the cop pulled up to the warehouse.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, we're not gonna. That was not. That's a story for another day.
I had to do with our warehouse neighbor, not with us.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, and then. So after that, we were all cooking by that point, right? Everyone was starting to really get after. Like we knew this was the mission right at hand. Like you're getting momentum. We're having tons of fun with it too.
Loads of fun.
Yeah, and then Danny, didn't you put up like a 300 piece like in like July of that year?
Yeah, that was July or August. Yeah, but wait, one more quick thing about that chlorine thing. When the UPS guy was here picking up all of the chlorine, well, there was like 3 trucks, but one of them was like. He asked me how much I made off of it, and I told him I was like about like 25, like $30,000, and he was like, "Wow, so you don't have to do anything the rest of the summer, like you're good."
No.
Like, fuck no, I'm not. Like it's just starting, but that's the kind of mentality where like you keep going, or some people just stop and just take. You gotta always.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, you gotta keep the foot on the gas right there. That was what I was like. I was starting to get comfortable at that point in July, and then we all went to Miami Sellers Conference, and I started turning up. Like I remember I put up like 100 in 2 weeks all FBM during back to school, and like that was when it like really opened my eyes to it.
That was the trip that went on to change the trajectory of Danny's life.
Like, yeah, and mine too. Yeah, it's good times. Right there.
Got there. Miles bullied me into moving to Miami.
Yeah.
Do you think if there was no scooters down there in Miami, you'd still be living down there?
Probably not.
I'm not gonna lie. There's like some little things like that. I don't know. I just really enjoy it.
Isn't that so wild? Because I remember we were scooting around for hours, and that really gave you the landscape of how Miami works.
Well, it's like if we hadn't gone out that night and I hadn't missed it was on my flight and I walked off of it. If that hadn't happened, would I still move there? Like, honestly, probably. But
no, you were decided at that point. I remember you were decided by that point.
Yeah, that point. Well, because that was like, I was thinking it in my head and I was like, all right, if I'm really going to do this, like, let me stay an extra day and like really like scope this place out, like see what's going on. Drove around scooter for like 4 hours that night.
Yeah, what I think is funny is that like where we thought was like the spot was like way off from like so wrong. Yeah, like we were like what, like 10 blocks or 20 blocks away from like where
Like a mile.
Yeah, exactly, right? Which in a big city is wow. And then like even like near where we ate was like 1 block over from where we go every day now, but we had no idea that it was over there. Basically, it's funny.
Yeah, we're talking about Brickell.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Right.
I don't even remember where that first conference was.
Oh, well, that was way up in the cut. That was
Sunny Isles.
Yeah, but we were hanging out in like downtown Wynwood and Brickell. Like
it was really the Sunny Isles conference.
It was, way up there. And everything. So as like Q4 starts, what should people be thinking about? Just like executing best, because we've all like the big leaps we've all made have been on little opportunities for short periods of time, really squeezing them hard, right? And that's what people gotta understand, I think.
Honestly, I would say if you're looking at products and you've been more risk adverse throughout the year, if you're looking for the best time of year to take a risk, I would say it's Q4 simply because the volume is the highest. So if you're on the fence about taking a risk about something, calculated risk, I would do it.
I mean, I think there's really 2 aspects of Q4. Aspect 1, which is everything that you have been having success with is going to do better, right? Price goes up, velocity goes up, all those things. That's everything you've had success with. But the other aspect, which is a little bit harder to take advantage of, especially if you're new, lacking confidence, lacking that experience, is the seasonal stuff, right? And so in terms of Q4, we're talking about seasons. There's really 3. Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Those are like the 3 sections of Q4. And each of those have opportunities embedded in them, right? Halloween, a lot of decorations, a lot of costumes. Thanksgiving, a lot of grocery items, a lot of decorations. Christmas, same thing, right? There's a lot of velocity spike inside each one of those that you can take advantage of and just see exponential growth with that velocity. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think honestly, really Q4 is only like November and December in terms of like the really, really popular, like when like everything is profitable basically, right? Especially once we get past Black Friday and then we just get into like FBM season completely. But it's like, it's so cool to me when we think about how many people like their whole framework around money changed the way ours did a couple years ago. Theirs did last year, and how many more people are set up to do that this year. It gets me like so excited, basically.
The day after Thanksgiving, so pretty much Black Friday all the way until a few days before Christmas, is nuts.
And even after.
Even mid-January, bro. Mid-January.
Yeah.
People have gift cards.
With the amount of like you would be astonished.
Yep.
Amazon gift cards is essentially its own currency, which how much exchanges hands around the holiday time. It's nuts.
Yeah. No, it's absurd.
Yeah, and
75% of people in this chat will either give or receive an Amazon gift card from a coworker, from a family member. It's nuts. And then what do you do with that gift card? You probably go and spend it the week after or the 2 weeks after, right? Because you've had things that you've wanted and not necessarily wanted to spend money on itself.
Yeah, and like the best days, just from a volume perspective, like industry wide, are going to be like the 5th to the 15th. However, your best days are going to be based on your inventory quality. Like that's like the entire thing of based what it's going to be on, right? So sure, like it's going to be really, really good, but you got to be prepared inventory wise, right? And right now and through November, you want to be testing as many things as possible. And then you'll know by then, even if you're new, right? You'll know your favorite websites, you'll know your favorite deals, your favorite types of items, and you'll have a lot more context on it to execute heavily when December rolls around. And the only stuff you should be buying heavy on is stuff that's already sold really, really well for you, right? Because otherwise you're taking unnecessary risk, which can work. I just like, some people are a little bit more risk averse right there. And yeah, it's interesting. So like I posted a poll on YouTube. I have 108 votes right now. And 48% of people have a December sales goal of 0 to 10K, right? And then the second highest is 31% of people are 50 to 100K, right? So the nice thing is there's a lot less competition just to get, or there's a lot more competition of people just trying to get their first sales, which means that the depth and the best coupons, the best opportunities are going to have the least competition just based off the amount of people that are really trying to get after, basically, just according to the research on that data. Right there. No. So no. So Prime Days, like you're not getting your stuff. Sure, it might be discounted by Amazon. Amazon takes the rest of it. No. So other websites run sales to compete with Prime Day. So we buy stuff to sell on Amazon. This episode's dropping tomorrow too. So everyone get ready. October 10th and 11th, your favorite retailers are going to have lots of good sales going on right there for sure.
And not to mention your sales are probably going to spike 1.5 to 2x what you typically see.
Yeah, which is nice. But the big lever, like in terms like, making significant progress, obviously repricing up is important right there, or just like being cognizant of your repricer or something selling really well. That's a good thing for Q4 too, is that if something's selling really well and you can get more of it, asterisk, assuming you can get more of it, right, then you should be repricing up on it and to protect the price long term if you're looking to really maximize that stuff. Yeah, we'll do a little Q&A too, last 10 minutes or so. I've been waiting since Wednesday. See, Ben, that's why you got to get going with that stuff, dude. I would just wait right there. But everyone watching and listening to this, like, you got to get on the ungates now because it's taking longer to hear back. And you'll get approved. You just want to get approved as quick as possible. Black Friday's like dropping in Tilted and you find a golden scar. That is true right there. Yeah, because all your favorite stuff during Black Friday is cheaper than it ever is, selling faster than it ever will be, right? And selling for more than it ever will be for the most part.
Miles, have you ever played that game?
Twice, 2 rounds in my life. I've watched a bunch of it though, but yeah, it's actually probably the last video game I've played, since like 2012 or so. Thanks for sharing the knowledge, of course, right there. So yeah, how should people be setting up their shipping settings for Q4, specifically on the FBM side of things?
1-day handling or 0 if you can handle it.
Yeah, well, so if you're new, I would say go 0-day handling time just to get yourself established in the BuyBox algorithm, right? And then, no one. I mean, I wish 0-day handling time in December on not even my worst enemies. Like you got to, if you're doing a couple thousand orders, like you got to be in 2-day. But like, let yourself get overwhelmed on stuff. Like you really learn what you're made of.
Dude, if you're doing 0-day and you're getting thousands of orders in, you're making thousands of dollars a day, you figure it out. You hire the neighbor, you hire your brother or sister.
Oh, you don't even need to though. That's the thing.
You figure it out.
The returns are, I feel like they get worse just because in December, everything sells quick. I mean, maybe price-wise, you might be able to X them out. But yeah, I mean, overall, you figure it out, right? You do the extra time to to do the retail arbitrage pickup orders, take advantage of Black Friday, that kind of stuff. Like if you have a 9-to-5 job too, and you're looking for a week to take off, which it's actually an incredibly smart thing a lot of people are doing, do that week of whatever the weekdays are between December 5th and 15th, that like 10-day period, take off the weekdays between there. That's like an incredibly good idea basically that like a couple people I know are doing.
The thing, is that Pete's Flips?
No, although, I mean, there's a bunch of people that I know are planning on. He might be, I don't know, but I know there's a bunch of people that are
pushing the cutoff to 5 p.m. is crazy.
The thing is that, like, all of us who have grown substantially over a couple of years' time, we've all had those times where it's like, oh, shoot, like, how am I going to make this happen?
And you figure it out every time.
You figure that, my works, like, people love looking for excuses to not make money when, like, the real hustlers look for excuses to make money. Right? Yeah. Like my favorite is like the people who are like, I don't have time that are making like 75K at a 9-to-5. I'm like, my brother in Christ, like you don't have time for a reason. You have complete choice. Like you can fix that shit, like level up your skills and stuff right there. Yeah. I'm a little crazy. Yeah. Dude. Oh, Danny, did you know you can do cutoff time of 11 p.m. for 0-day handling time?
How is that even possible?
Well, it makes no sense. You have to buy the label. You know what I mean? But you have to buy the label.
That's what you got to do. Sometimes if you can't fulfill all the FBM, like you just got to just print the labels out.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And people are so scared of stuff like that. And obviously, like, you know what I mean? You want to be, on top of stuff. But like occasionally, dude, stuff happens. It's fine.
Yeah.
When the day starts over, what, 3 a.m. our time?
3 a.m. Yep.
3 a.m. Yep. But like, it depends. It's different though in terms of like, some time. Yeah.
No, some stuff is different, but yeah, everything on Amazon, like on all their backend stuff, is West Coast.
Yeah. So that's why if you're on the East Coast and you need to get that fat orange bar screenshot, you got to set the alarm for 2:45. We've all been there. I remember I did that in August of 2 years ago to try and get the first 10K day, and I didn't get it, and I was pissed. It was like 9,800. I was like, fuck, I'll get after it. And then like a couple of days later, I got it basically.
That's great.
It's cool. By the way, I just got a text. Someone's looking to use student discounts. If you're a college kid, make sure to take advantage of student discounts right there as well.
If you're in the military or other government positions, like
as a nurse, you have a massive advantage. If there's any nurses in the chat,
educators too. Yeah,
Imamos is DM if you're a nurse in the chat too.
How do you work with USPS pickups with same day handling time? So yeah, Mark, you wouldn't totally. It depends when your USPS does their pickups, which for mine is like 9 a.m. So like I can't really deal with that. But trust me, like you should be pumping enough volume that you don't need to do 0 day handling time. You just do 0 day handling time to start to get overwhelmed with orders to realize what you're capable of as a fully oiled FBM 0 day handling time, repricer on, optimized pricing machine, basically, which I need all of you guys to be able to do.
I remember the first time I heard Miles, do you take credit for 0? Because a year ago, no one was talking about 0 day handling.
I was doing it.
Well, yeah. But like you know,
it wasn't mainstream though. Like do you remember who was one of the few first people?
That's the thing too is lads, like when we started, there was so much less competition on stuff that we didn't need to be. You just had to like list some shit and it would sell. Like as long as the rank was low.
The thing do you take credit for like normalizing 0 day handling time on social media?
I'll say the merchant. I'll do the merchant fulfilled side of things. Yeah. I'll take credit for that. Yeah.
Dude, the thing when I was doing it, obviously I don't sell anything merchant fulfilled anymore, but when I would lower the handling time, it gave me a significant advantage in the buy. Like I was dominating the buy box, and every other person on the listing, I think people just didn't even know what it was. They didn't know it was a thing. I was hogging the buy box, every listing, higher price, sometimes by like 20% higher price, and I'm still in the buy box.
Yeah. So the way that works for anyone who's not sure, basically, is when you lower your handling time, your delivery dates look more attractive to the buyers and to Amazon. So Amazon pushes you in the algorithm more, right? So I got this whole thing, like this whole spiel memorized basically, but I haven't given it to the podcast audience yet. So 0 day handling time for FBM, free shipping for FBM, charge like 15 to 20 bucks plus $1 per pound for expedited and next day though. Get your poly mailers from Amazon, your boxes from Walmart and Uline, schedule UPS pickups via Pirate Ship, schedule USPS pickups via USPS.com for free, right there. Get to know your drivers, right? And you can hit a lot of scale when you're FBMing a lot of the same thing, right? The same type of product. And then you also want to be like, everyone watching this should be using your ePricer too. There's an affiliate link in the description if you want to use BQ, which is what I use and support your boy with that. But either way, like you need to be ready for this stuff because you can get a lot wrong. Like think about how much shit we got wrong that first year, but because we had a good squad of people to source with, we ended up making it back. Yeah, like think about how much less we knew than we know now. Like it's exponential right there. But you get the big things right, which is finding good products. Everything else works out.
And the crazy thing is, like FBA almost works to your disadvantage in the heat of of Q4.
Completely.
Because Amazon gets clogged up. Amazon's fulfillment channels get clogged up. And so Amazon's banking on the fact that you are obviously at less scale than Amazon and can fulfill those orders more efficient. And so FBM sellers are going to make a killing in those dog days of Q4 that Miles is talking about, the 5th to the 15th, all through Christmas. FBM is going to crush.
Yeah.
Your boy's not going to be doing any FBM. However, you would if you.
Well, but that's the thing though. You've earned the right to optimize. Like it makes me so sad when you got people doing like 12 grand a month in sales. Like I don't want to sell shoes because of the returns. You're listening to people that are already making a bunch of money that have the choice to optimize. when you don't have the choice to optimize, you're just legitimately choosing to make less money and have to work a lot harder if you're thinking like that.
Yeah.
I only worry about my competition with similar delivery dates. But yeah, exactly. Like you don't even have to worry about that. Like you just check the reprice. So like if you're getting good fast selling products, you don't even have to look at your competition's delivery dates on stuff. It doesn't hurt to, but like you're not going to really gain much from that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You schedule USPS pickups on Pirate Ship also right there. Cool. Okay. Sweet. Yeah. And guys, like it's important too, like some common takeaways we get from people that come on the BuyBoxBandits, right? All of them are connected with other sellers, right? Mm-hmm. The vast majority of people who are successful with the stuff are connected with the sellers, with other sellers. The vast majority of people who are not succeeding with the stuff are not connected with other sellers, right? And you can feel free to do it on your own, but as a heavy common denominator that where the major progress with this stuff is in private Zoom calls, Discords, text conversations that are built organically through the most powerful tools in human history for connectivity, typically social media.
Right. Out of the 120 plus different sellers we've interviewed, 115, whatever it is.
115, yeah.
We've interviewed one single seller who prior to coming on was not connected to Amazon.
What did he instantly do?
Instantly got connected. Instantly after.
Yep.
And then grew and changed his life, right? Business. I mean, obviously he was doing successful, but he was crushing it before.
Yeah, you got to build yourself leverage, right? And leverage is in the form of skills, connections, capital, obviously, and there's no better ways to do that, basically. Recognize me from Instagram. Yeah, isn't that crazy, right? Vivian, people recognizing you right there. Yeah, that is crazy right there. Cool. Okay, sweet. Guys, do you have any other questions for this episode? Cool. Sweet. Anything else we're missing in terms of Q4 prep for the boys and girls watch? We'll do like a full Q4 episode. I'll prepare for it a bunch right there. But like overall, just like be prepared. Like don't worry about the amount of work it's going to be. Worry deeply about how much profit you can make and being prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not the work. If the goal is wealth accumulation, you'll figure out the rest of it.
And it's not always going to be pretty, right? It's not always going to be perfect. There were mornings at 7:30 when we were ordering Flowbees with no more business credit. We pulled out the personal credits. We pulled out debit cards, bro.
That account was a nightmare.
We pulled out any single card possible and figured it out and worried about it later, right? It wasn't always perfect. It wasn't always pretty. It's like, but what if you don't make that extra $1,000, right? I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say now is, October, it's just now October. Like you have tons of opportunity, tons of time to source for Q4. So if you got to say no to going out, say no.
Yeah, say no. Like stop watching TikTok. Like read a book. Like just read a book. Yeah, a lot of you guys listening haven't read a book in the last year.
You really need to prioritize your time and focus if you want it to work.
Yeah, because you can save, like you've seen, like we've been able to save decades of freedom from our lives from learning to be good at making money online. And like I said earlier, those big gains have been in short periods of time with opportunities that only last for short periods of time. So you got to make sure you squeeze that stuff and learn as much as possible.
Yeah. Also, Garrett just completed an Ironman last week, so let's get some W's in the chat.
Yeah, let's see some W's right there. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Cool, sweet. Yeah, I'll get some W's in there. Cool. All right, sweet guys. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back with weekly episodes through the end of the year. I want to bring on a bunch of people that like murdered Q4 last year too to get you guys as best prepared as possible. Right there. But thanks for showing love. BuyBoxBandits back. Here's to another couple years. And thanks everyone for following the journey. If you guys are watching this on YouTube or whatever and you're new to BuyBoxBandits, it's on all podcast platforms. Danny hooked it up on this cool thing like a couple years ago, so it's on like podcast platforms you haven't even heard of too. Right there.
Cool. IT Daniel.
Danny was such a go getting us all this stuff.
The mics too. The mics are fire. We still got them. Yeah, I still got mine right here too.
Operate.
Okay. Sweet, cool. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a great one.
To another 2 years.
Yep.